Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw, it's Monday. On Mondays, we do tier lists, and on Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Okay, you should just know that we don't do this a lot, so this is like a really huge deal.
We want to invite you to have lunch with us every day for the rest of the week.
Oh, it's okay. Coolness. So we'll see you tomorrow.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Today's tier list, I think, is going to be an exciting one. I saw a post on Reddit about the best Pokemon, or not the best Pokemon, the Pokemon who most often steal Rayquaza or secure Rayquaza. I didn't look through their entire tier list, and I went, I really want to make that tier list myself. Maybe by the end of this, I'll see how different they are, and I'll kind of compare them. So let's take a look right here. We are going to be ranking these Pokemon based on how likely it is that they're going to steal Rayquaza being around it. Our tiers for the week, we have our God tier. We're only going to have one Pokemon in our God tier. We're not freaking Norse around here. We have our S tier, the stealing like all day and twice on Sunday tier. We have our A tier, the a real problem when it's around Rayquaza tier. We have our B tier. Still got the B tier. Sub up to my B tier if you like Warcraft Rumble. We've got our C tier, the could this be anymore tier. Shoutouts to Chandler. We have our Decidueye Memorial tier, a tier named after Decidueye when it was so terrible it got its own tier. These Pokemon are going to be just awful around stealing Rayquaza. Let's get right into it. Slowbro, I think, is definitely an A tier choice. This Pokemon, whether it's running Scald or it's running Surf, has a surprisingly high likelihood of stealing Rayquaza. Something you may not know is that defenders and supporters actually do more damage to wild Pokemon, so that's why you see weird support secures and stuff like that. And Slowbro is just a real menace. Surf, when it's at its plus level, it knocks people up every single wave that hits. You will see incredible Surf secures out of Slowbro. And then Scald is just on such a low cooldown, does really solid damage, has burn tick damage, and that's another reason you see big secures on the bro. I think it's definitely an A tier Ray stealer. All right, our next Pokemon, let's bounce around right here. Let's do something that's kind of You know what? Garchomp. Garchomp, amazing for ripping Ray. And its Unite move, not too bad at getting a secure every once in a while, but I don't think this Pokemon has great secure around Rayquaza. In fact, sometimes it really just sets it up to be stolen by the enemy team. Really solid Pokemon and great at the Rayquaza fight. However, if you have your Unite move for the Rayquaza secure, you probably missed a great opportunity to use it in the actual Ray fight. So I think Garchomp is pretty low on our list of Pokemon that could secure Rayquaza. What's kind of more of a B tier option for us? Let's look for a B tier option right here. It's weird to say. I mean, I guess I could say Sylveon. The thing about Sylveon is it's similar to Garchomp with its rip. Its Hyper Voice is doing larger amounts of damage, kind of like the boom, boom, boom. It's doing larger hits right here. I think it used to have a higher likelihood of stealing Ray. It does get to attack a little bit from range right here, but I don't think it's one of the better secures. I even could move it down to the C tier, but I think that's a fine place for it. Speedster right here with great secure, Absol. Absol has incredible Rayquaza secure, whether it's Night Slash or its Unite move. It's a little telegraphed, which keeps it out of the S tier for me, but I think it's one of the better Rayquaza secures inside the game for sure. A real problem around the pit. If this Pokemon is up, it has a dash move, it can get in. If it has its Unite move, it has an opportunity to take Rayquaza away from you. Pretty solid here. Let's take a look at a supporter. Eldegoss. Eldegoss, I would say it's strange because I think a lot of people would say Eldegoss is S. I don't think so. The only reason I say I don't think so is not because it doesn't have great secure. It's just the most obvious thing coming. It's more obvious even than Talonflame. It doesn't really have the mobility to get next to it as easy. It's not that it's bad. It's not bad at all. But I think it's just so apparent what it's doing. And the second it hits the skies, you just stop hitting Rayquaza and you let it kind of float around right there. It still has really solid secure, A tier secure, but I think a few of those reasons keep it out of the S tier for me. Also, it really only has that to secure. Still, LD is a problem around Ray, without question. So we've got one of every role on the board. Let's keep bopping around here. Goodra, Goodra's not a huge, like, steal Ray Pokemon. The nice thing about Goodra is it's really disruptive, and it can do a decent amount of damage with either Muddy Water or Dragon Pulse. Because of that, you've got some good last-hitting opportunities, but I feel like Goodra is just not often in a great position to steal Rayquaza. I'm not too worried having a Goodra around Ray when a team is ripping it down. That doesn't usually lead to, you know, the Dragon Pulse secure or something like that. So I think it's solid, but not one of the best Ray secures inside the game for sure. Let's do another all-rounder right here. Ooh, let's go. You know what? Let's go with an S tier one. Where are you, buddy? Blaziken. Blaziken's secure around Ray is legendary. It rips it really fast. It also has like 4 good moves that have decent secure and 1 that's broken. So Overheat's just frankly broken around Ray. If Ray is getting low and you start charging it at it, you're good to go. Basically, as long as someone keeps hitting it, which, please guys, if you see your team has a Blaziken and it's right there near Ray, keep hitting it. It's waiting to use its Overheat to secure it for you right there. But also, you know, it's Focus Blast, it's Uppercut, just spinning into its next move with the Unite move. It has so many options to secure Rayquaza. I think it's one of the better securers and stealers inside of Pokemon Unite. For sure. Let's do an attacker right here. Let's go with... Let's go with an attacker who maybe doesn't secure all that well. Mewtwo. So this is going to be interesting. I'll talk about both Mewtwo's right here. I think if they're securing Rayquaza with their Unite move, they're probably not playing the game very well, because that Unite move should be used inside the fight to win the fight. Now, one thing is for sure, if the enemy team, you KO'd their Mewtwo, and it is coming off of spawn, and you're hitting Ray, now all of a sudden, these move up to, like, a ridiculous level secure, like up into the A tier. But in general, any Mewtwo worth their salt is going to actually use their Unite move for the Rayquaza fight, and it's not going to be in a position to get stolen. I think right when they came out, people were more surprised by their steal. It doesn't often get stolen by it, and then it doesn't often get stolen with basic attacks either. I'm not too worried having a Mewtwo around Rayquaza for a steal. Now, having a Mewtwo around Rayquaza for a fight, absolutely. And if a Mewtwo has decided not to use its Unite move, you have to be very careful around that Ray pit. But I've noticed most teams are getting to the point where they're not really tricked by this play at all anymore. It's super rare that it's going to end up getting Ray. Let's see. Let's do a speeds here. Leafeon is probably S. Leafeon's insanely good. All of its builds do insane, like whether you're doing, you know, Razor Leaf, or Leaf Blade, or you're doing Solar Blade, these builds just do so much burst so easy, and it's so easy to get in, to dash in and do that amount of damage. I think it has some of the best Ray secure in the entire game, and it's not super hard to pull it off with this Pokemon. Huge burst and crazy mobility. If it's up, there's a chance that this thing could take Rayquaza from you, for sure. It's just it's a dangerous, dangerous Pokemon to have around. Let's talk about Clefable. Clefable's D, except every once in a while. So I don't really know, like, what do you do with this? So it's D tier. However, every once in a while, it will roll Fly with its Unite or Hyper Beam with its Unite. And I have stolen Rayquaza with both Fly and Hyper Beam. For that reason, I guess I have to keep it out of the Decidueye Memorial tier. However, otherwise, it has no tools. It's like, on a lucky dice roll, it has some tools for secure, and then all of a sudden becomes a real problem. But in general, this Pokemon is not a problem to have around Rayquaza at all. It's just every once in a while, it's actually got something to secure with, and it's so eye-rolly, but it happens. Of course it happens. You always want to eliminate opponents around Rayquaza's, you know, area, but in general, I don't worry too much about seeing a Clefable there. Okay, great. Let's move on to another Pokemon right here. Let's move on to a defender. Trevenant, I think, is pretty solid. Trev's either B or A. You know, its Unite move isn't great for securing. Even it feels like, I mean, it has like a knockup, but it's not really what its Unite move is for. However, Curse is consistent damage with a burst. Pain Split lets you redirect any damage you get onto Rayquaza. Wood Hammer's like 1-2 punch is really solid for a Rayquaza secure. I might even put Trevenant into the A tier. just because of how good Woodhammer is and how the thing about Ray is people are in the pit hitting it, and Trevenant takes all of them, boom, stun, takes all of them again, boom, stun. There are definitely times where I've secured just based on this combo. It's also a fast move with a lot of burst. I think I am going to put it into the A tier. I think it's one of the more dangerous Pokemon to have around the pit like that, for sure. Yeah, Trev, I think, is a solid choice. Let's move on to another attacker right here. Pikachu, I'd say Pikachu's A. Electro Ball is extremely good for secure. Thunderbolt, not so much. It's more of a support situation where you stun the people inside the pit and get your team set up to secure. However, Electro Ball is an insane secure. It has execute damage, and it's up all the time. It's on like the lowest cooldown ever, so if there's a Pikachu around the pit, I definitely think there's something to be worried about right there, right? Yeah, it's worrisome. I don't think it's S. It just doesn't have enough tools to be S, but I've stolen plenty of Rays with a plenty of Pikachus. I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but that is how I decided to say it. Ooh, let's do an S tier. Dark Bear. Darker Shifu, a Wicked Blow, one of the best secure moves in the entire game. If Dark Bear is up around the pit and you're hitting it, you're making a big mistake. It's one of the best. It's it's resistant to damage. Like now it's 40%. It used to be 60% damage reduction. Now it's plus is 40% damage reduction. You can't stop it. It's just so incredibly good. It's clearly one of the best secure moves in the entire game. So amazing. Let's see here. Let's do a defender. Ooh, really good one. Blastoise. Blastoise is really good. The only problem with Blastoise is, like a lot of Pokemon, it's very telegraphed. And it can't really... if you're ripping with Rapid Spin Water Spout, you can't get out of it fast enough to Unite and secure all the time. But its Unite move is crazy good secure, and it's also just crazy good secure for your team. So because it does insane damage and has a knock-up component to it, it sets your team up for a lot of secure situations. So I would say with Blastoise, it's almost S for me. It's really close. It just doesn't have a lot of other good options for a secure, but having Blastoise around the pit absolutely is a absolute real problem. Let's see, what Pokemon is next? Let's do Gengar. Gengar's mid. It's okay. It has some really good stuff with its Unite move sometimes, but I just think it feels like it's going to work more often than it does, you know? It's actually more of like a Reddit bush play than you would expect. It does have some good secure, and it's surprising. You know where it is, though, and you know what its plan is. If you have a Gengar alive and it has a Unite move and you can see it floating around with that little fiery ball, just chill for 1 second. Wait until it decides where it's going to pop up before you continue ripping the objective. I don't think you have to worry too much. Definitely better than Sylveon or something like that. It has a burst, so it is surprising. But I don't feel like its secure is actually as good as maybe some people think. Let's see. Lucario. Lucario's probably S tier secure. Between close combat, power up punch, even extreme speed, and then its Unite move, like flying off so fast right now, I think its ability to secure and steal is actually probably pretty underrated. You don't see a lot of Lucario much anymore, but it's so good. Pup has execute. Close combat is so much damage, so fast. You also can close combat right back into a power-up punch, basically. And then again, that Unite move flies now. It's so good at securing. I think Lucario is one of the better Pokemon in the game at securing an objective for sure. Let's see who's next. Let's do Buzzwole. Not great. Not terrible, because you can pick something up and slam it on. It's just not great. It's like low. You've got damaging moves, fine. If you use Leech Life Leech Life, you do one big burst of damage, which is kind of nice. This really isn't Buzzwole's job, and it's not good at it. So yeah, let's see who's next. Alolan Ninetales is either B or maybe close to A. If you get a good Blizzard Avalanche on it, you're in a great spot, and its Unite move is pretty good. I could see it. I could see it up in our A tier. Unfortunately, I hate that this is happening, but I do feel like I need one of these. Gosh, this is so frustrating, but it's true. Still got the B plus tier. They're both pretty good at it. I don't feel like they're as good as some of the others, but they're both pretty dang good at it. And I do think they're a head above Sylveon right here. It was just kind of mid and really, really expected right here. Who is next? Snorlax. Snorlax is pretty Doesn't steal that often. Heavy Slam's got some opportunities. Its Unite move has some opportunities. The biggest thing about its Unite move is disrupt. Like, Heavy Slam and its Unite are just about disrupting your opponents around Ray. You don't often end up getting the secure with the slowest of the bro. Okay, let's do let's do an S tier. Blissey. Egg Bomb, crazy. The amount of secures this thing has gotten throughout the course of the game, insane. And then its Unite move is actually brutal at securing. It does so much damage. It gets that extra damage onto objectives because of its supporter ability. You often even see this thing like hit it with a boosted attack sometimes and it just gets it. The fact of the matter is, Blissey saves games in so many ways, and Blissey's secure is out of this world. Who is next on our list? Let's do Mimikyu. Mimikyu is really good. Its Unite doesn't help with it at all. However, it does zone out opponents, which is really nice. But Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw onto Rayquaza once it's low, like hitting it with the Shadow Sneak, or really hitting anyone in the pit with Shadow Sneak, then launching in for an auto into Shadow Claw is actually a pretty solid secure. I wouldn't say it's S tier, but it's a pretty solid Rayquaza secure. Water Bear is kind of mid. It's like B+. The only thing that keeps it out of the B or C tier is just because its dash is so good. It has so much dash. It has the ability to get in there, and sometimes that's just enough. Getting in there with a full heal can give you a secure. It's not amazing, but it can give you a decent secure. Dragonite's a weird one. The thing about Dragonite is, I feel like you're not often, it's like never a steal. Like, the way the pit's set up now, Hyper Beam is just not as easy to make happen. You kind of have to be inside the pit, basically, for the Hyper Beam secure. You get this, you look at this as more of a secure than a steal. You see it. You see what they're doing. They're dragon dancing around getting ready for a Hyper Beam. It doesn't feel like they're setting up a steal at all to me. It actually feels like they can set up some pretty solid secures, but even just with how the pit is, I think Dragonite doesn't perform that well around Rayquaza with the Hyper Beam build. And then Outrage is fine. The nice thing is the stun on your opponents, but even still, the secure is pretty Yeah, I'd say it's like mid. It's a very mid secure. Let's talk about one that's really good, actually, and that's Dragapult. So instead of Dragonite, let's talk about Dragapult. Dragapult's Unite move secure is really solid. It might even be S tier. It's one of the best things about this Pokemon. If you position yourself right, you have incredible damage that, boom, fires off like an absolute rocket towards the objective. Actually, I might even put this in S. You don't see Dragapult very much, but if you know how to use that Unite move as a secure tool, it's really, really strong. It's either S or A. It's somewhere in these two. It's very, very good. Greninja's probably S tier. Between its ability to dash in and its ability to surf secure, and the fact that even sometimes its Unite move has decent secure, or a boosted auto from it just does so much damage close range. It actually is one of the best secure tools in the game. It's the reason people play it in the Reddit bush, even though it's not a good way to play it, but it more times than I can count, Greninjas steal Ray. They steal Ray really, really well. It's hard to pin them down, especially with Smokescreen. You don't know exactly where they are. So I think they have a really good shot at securing Rayquaza. Another one with an amazing shot, Snipe Shot, is going to be Decidueye. It's a Spirit Shackle, but it's a Sniper Shot Spirit. It's probably the best secure of the list so far. I don't know. A few of these are really good. Wicked Blow's insane. Overheat's insane. Like, it's up here with these guys. I think these guys are kind of like this right now. They're really good secures. I'm not sure which one of the three is. We'll pick a god tier at some point. But Spirit Shackle is obviously one of the craziest secure moves in the entire game. Even better than Inteleon. Let's talk about Inteleon. I'm going to put it A. Between its auto attacks, which actually usually is its best secure, and Snipe Shot, it's without question a huge problem to have around the pit. It's not as versatile at securing as Decidueye. The thing about Decidueye is Spirit Shackle can go through targets. Snipe Shot cannot, and you know what Inteleon's trying to do. You know where it is on the map. As long as, even if you're right next to it, as long as you know that you're going to be standing around where Inteleon's shooting, it makes it a lot harder. It's still a great secure, but it makes it a lot harder than something like Snipe Shot, and I have to kind of compare the two directly. Decidueye is a much better secure than Inteleon. However, Inteleon has much better mobility than Decidueye. Inteleon's just a lot better. It's one of the most busted things in the game. Its secure is really pretty dang legendary. But Decidueye just like really is like something to be feared here. Let's pop some more up onto our list. Tyranitar, pretty mid. You know, it's got that chip damage that's kind of happening all the time around it, like that AoE DPS that's always happening. It's okay. It's not the best thing for securing. Charizard feels the same way. It's fine. You kind of get it just because you're hitting, you throw down like a Fire Blast, you hit it with a flamethrower, you're using your autos. There's like lots of instances of damage, which gives you opportunities, but it doesn't have a super strong secure move. So I think a C tier is fair for those Pokemon right there. Comfey is awful. The only thing that you can really use is his auto attack. It's got one of the worst ray steals in the entire game, along with Sableye. Sableye's a little better than Comfey for whatever it's worth, but its ray steal is not that epic. Sometimes I've confused a ray steal, and I've also kind of unite moved a ray steal. It's not that good. It's such a crazy Hail Mary. The only thing about Sableye is you just never know where it is. So there is a time where it can kind of do something, but it's extremely rare that you're going to get value out of it. In that sense. Venusaur, S tier. Solar Beam is an S tier secure move. It's Unite move and Solar Beam comboed with an energy amplifier. I mean, you set up some bananas moments for secure. Venusaur is without question one of the better secure Pokemon in the game. It's definitely up there in the contention with a lot of the Pokemon we're talking about right here. Another Solar Beam that's right there with them is Mew. Mew's Solar Beam and Electro Ball, actually, just like Pikachu, are crazy, crazy good secures, and it has a Unite move that makes it invulnerable for a little while, which just sets up opportunities for you to kind of be around it and secure. Mew is without question one of the best securers inside the game for sure. Let's see. Wiggly, no, you're not going to see a Wiggly secure. It's either D, it might be C. The only secure you're going to see, I mean, rollout's extremely cringe for a secure. It can happen. I've seen it. The only secure you're really going to see is Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam maybe moves this into the C tier, but in general, you never have to be worried with a Wigglytuff around Rayquaza. It's just not going to be the thing. Zeraora. Zeraora, I would say, is an A. The thing about its secure is it's not even the burst of it. It's just the discharge, like constant damage. It just jumps in, hits its discharge, and then autos. Just jump in, discharge, autos. It actually has a really good shot at securing. I think A tier. Keeping it around near a Ray Pit is a bit of a problem. I would say an S tier secure is Aegis Slash. Aegis Slash is one of the better ones in the game. Its Unite move is busted, but you do need to learn how to aim it. Its Unite move is a busted secure, and then its boosted autos are crazy good too. So it has multiple opportunities to secure. Having it alive around a Ray Pit, very, very scary situation for sure. Machamp's pretty good. Not bad. It's kind of in this B plus A tier-ish area. It's close. You don't use your Unite move. You just kind of burst it. You like burst it with like Dynamic Punch and then either your autos or the cross chop or the other move that I'm close combat that I was blanking on there for a second. It's actually got pretty good secure. You don't see a lot of Machamps these days, but it's got a pretty decent secure. Greedent's another one. Greedent's probably, if you're playing Bullet Seed, it's probably B plus, and if you're playing Covet Belch, it's probably A. At a time, it was probably S when it was a little more broken, but the damage from this is huge. And I've secured so many rays with Greedent, it's just too many to count. It's really, really good at it. It's Covet Belch sets you up in a situation where they can't really stop you. You have like incredible hindrance resistance, and then the burst is just crazy. So the burst just lets you really secure objectives in a great way. Cram's pretty mid. Air Slash is decent secure. Surf's not bad. Surf is actually probably its strongest tool because you send Surf out, it hits twice. But it's pretty mid, I would say. You can kind of dive Air Slash. It's like maybe it's B plus, but I would say it's a pretty mid Pokemon for sure. Zacian Steel's Ray, so incredibly good. Even through just autos, its Unite move, its auto attacks, Sacred Sword, its Intrepid Sword, boosted passive, giving it multiple. Like, Zacian's Rip and Secure is insane. It's truly insane. One of the fiercest things to deal with around Rayquaza, for sure. Crustle I think is surprisingly A tier. I think a lot of people don't expect Crustle to be so good around Ray, and they're not realizing like how good Crustle's Unite actually is at dealing consistent damage. But a Crustle with a Unite move, walking into the Ray pit, whether it's like just walking with Stealth Rock or in autoing it, or it's walking in with its Unite and using X Scissor, like it sets up steals. It sets up crazy good steals. Okay, let's see who's next on our list. Delphox. Delphox is actually pretty good. It's either A or B. Because of its Unite, that's always up. Even if it's used its Unite earlier in the Ray fight, it's going to have another one the next time it shows up. Its Unite makes it harder for your team. It has constant damage. Delphox, you know, gets powered up and starts throwing in some mystical fires or a fire blast at the area right there. It's actually a real problem around Ray. Delphox is really good. I think it's either A or B+, somewhere right in there. Duraludon is S tier. It's so good. It's one of the most busted secures inside the game, for sure. Yeah, Dura's amazing. People don't like Dura. Dura's so good. And its Ray presence is phenomenal. It's up here. It might not be as broken secure-wise. All these are so good in our S tier. It may not be as broken secure-wise, but it's like secure-wise in one move, but its autos, its Unite, and its Dragon Pulse all combined just lead to really heavily weighted situations for the team that has the Duraludon near the pit. Shandy's okay. Shandy's probably mid. It does all right. Its Unite move is so easily cancelable. The only thing that would raise it from the B tier for me is just because people can't see around its Unite, but I don't feel like Shandy steals as much as I would expect it to, actually. I think it's either B or B+. Somewhere in this range is probably pretty fair for Chandelure. Azumarill doesn't steal much. It really doesn't. See? It's got some options. It's boosted attack with Aqua Tail. You could be whirlpooling around it and then throwing autos or a water pulse, but it doesn't steal that much. Its presence around Ray is not that huge of an issue. Espeon, however, yeah, I don't see as many people running Psyshock anymore, and the damage of it got nerfed. But in its heyday, this was S tier. I think now it's probably closer to A, even though it's still really good. More people running Stored Power means that it has less tools to secure Rayquaza. I'm not as worried about it. However, it used to just be an absolute monster. It's still A tier. It's still like insanely good, but I wouldn't say it's S anymore. Lapras, pretty good. B. It's better in the fight than it's stealing. I don't often see the Lapras steal, right? I see it do way better in the fight than I do see it stealing Rayquaza. I'd say it's B or B+. It's like kind of in the middle here. Hoopa is probably B+. Its Hyperspace Hole, as well as its Unite move, probably put it above some other Pokemon. You might even move it into the A tier. It actually does pretty well. But the problem is you probably don't have its Unite for a steal. You know, you've already used it in the fight. I would say it's probably B+, maybe A. Maybe an A tier choice for stealing. Talonflame is S, but Talonflame is obvious. The big problem with Talonflame is it's obvious. However, what you'll see, everyone knows what Fly does. So what you'll see is if Talonflame's even around a little bit, people won't be hitting it as much. But having an invulnerable, thing that you can land on Rayquaza with is obviously extremely powerful. Even if you don't get it with the Fly too, you can immediately land and like boost it or flame charge. So it's pretty solid. I think it's a little better than LD just because it has more tools at its disposal, and we have all seen insane Fly secures. It happens. Zarina is B+, just because its burst is pretty good. It has pretty good burst. It's okay. It's not an amazing Ray stealer, but it happens. You definitely see it. Mamo is B+. because of Icicle Crash. Mammo's Icicle Crash actually is a decently solid secure tool. Its Unite move, not so much. The nice thing about its Unite move is it's kind of a 1-2 punch with that moment when Rayquaza already knocks everyone up and then you're, stomping on them, knocking them up. But it's really Icicle Crash that gets you the big secures with Mamoswine. Scyther is probably A tier. Nobody really plays Scyther right now, but it's actually a really strong secure tool. Dual Wing Beat into, its dash or something like that. Even Dual Wing Beat into a boosted. Like, these are big secure tools. The problem is just you never see Scyther. Scissor is really low. It's with a lot of the other all-rounders. It just doesn't have secure. It doesn't steal, right? It brawls. It brawls really well, but it doesn't actually steal objectives. It's just using its bullet punch or something like that. One of the lower secure tools in the game for sure, coming out of Scissor right there. Glaceon's a weird one. Glaceon's weird because Glaceon is mid-secure, top-tier rip, and sometimes the rip is just going to get it. I'd put it B+. It's actually not the Ray. It doesn't steal Ray as much as it is like, oh, if you're at a man disadvantage, that thing's just going to start A-pressing Ray and hitting it. Icy Wind has better steal. Like, Icy Wind is probably closer to the A tier. But I'd say in general, B+ is a fair place to put it. Cinderace is A. Its Unite move not being cancelable anymore is what leads it to be A. However, there are so many reasons Cinderace's secures get screwed up, and every single Cinderace thinks they're just going to solo Rayquaza and walk away. But around Ray, they're a real problem. At any moment, they could throw that Unite move. You can't cancel it anymore, and it has good secure. Okay, Umbreon is not good. Umbreon is probably C, maybe even D. It's not good secure at all. Its Unite's really strong. It does good burst, but I don't feel like it secures super well ever. Kind of, you stun with Snarl, foul play. I've had some foul play secures. I don't know. It's not an amazing Ray stealer, that's for sure. Guardy, very good. Guardy, I wouldn't say is S. The reason I don't think Guardy is S is because it's just so easy to stop. However, in a coordinated situation, throwing its Unite move onto the pit is just so incredibly good. So it leans close to S for me, but it doesn't steal as often as you think it would, honestly. And I think it's just because it really doesn't have any mobility options, and you know exactly where it's coming from and what it's going to do. Mr. Mime is probably B+ secure. Its utility around the pit's insane, but it often isn't the Pokemon that gets the steal. But if you jump into a Ray fight with your Unite move or something like that, I mean, you set your team up in an insane way to just finish off an objective. So good. Zoroark, A. Dodrio as well. Zoroark and Dodrio are both A tier secure. Zoroark is closer to S than Dodrio is. Dodrio's Drill Peck, even its boosted attack and its Unite move, they're all pretty good around Ray. Zoroark is... You're not as often going to see the Night Slash, almost never gets the secure. Feint can get the secure, but it's a Unite move. It just blasts huge amount of damage. You jump right into the pit and drop it on there. It might be close to our S tier because of that. It's like probably high up here, close to our S tier. And there you go. There is our tier list for where I think all these Pokemon sit for securing or stealing Rayquaza, right? We're going to decide on our God tier right now. And then let's take a look at the other tier list and just see how far off we were, because I have not seen exactly how far off this tier list is going to be. I want to get our God tier in the list right there. There you go, buddy. Welcome to the screen part of the tier list we hadn't been able to see for a little while. Our God tier part of the tier list. Can we get this in frame? Can we make this in frame, please? Hi, can this be in frame, please? Hi. Thank you. I already knew what Pokemon was going in my God tier. I don't know if you know at home. I'm going to give you 1 second to guess. Leave your answer in the comments what you think I'm going to put in there. There's a Pokemon that secures are so brutal, and it being around the pit is so difficult to deal with. I think it's so incredibly busted, and I wonder if you're on the same wavelength as me, but my God tier Pokemon for stealing Ray is Mew. Mew is dumb. It's so dumb. When you think about stealing Ray, I don't feel like I ever see more steals come out of absolute nowhere. Even if you know Mew is on the board, you don't know where it is. It's too fast. Its Unite move makes it so you can't hit it. And whether it's Electro Ball or it's Solar Beam, but Solar Beam secure from a mile away is the most busted secure in the game for my money. Let's go take a look at this other tier list and see how close we got to some of their choices. All right, above me, you can see the tier list from Reddit here, posted by Via Joy. Thank you for this cool idea, Via Joy. Let's take a look at how close we got to some of their tier lists. Steals 24/7, they have Venusaur, we agree, top tier. Gengar, I don't think it's top tier. I think it's pretty mid, honestly. Lucario, totally agree. Decidueye, totally agree. Mew, totally agree. Zoroark, I could hear an argument for Zoroark being up in my S tier. Inteleon, I don't think is S for me. It doesn't steal as often as I think people would like to think it does, right? I don't think it does. They have Talon, Guardy, Aegislash. They have Leafeon. They have a lot of these top ones as well. Blaziken, Mimikyu, Zacian. These are all way high up on their tier list as well. They've got probably Will Steel. We've got Cinder. We've got Absol. Let's see who else we got here. Greninja, Pikachu, Dodrio. Dark Bear, I think, could be way higher. Dragapult could be higher. I don't think Candle and Umbreon steal that much, honestly. I think it feels like they would, but I don't think they do. Their Might Steal kind of feels like they're B tier. I think Slowbro should be higher. I think a lot of these could actually be a little bit higher here. Yeah. Mewtwo, Y, and you know what? We actually are in full agreement about X and Y. Clearly, they think like, yeah, it doesn't actually get the steals that often. Clefable being here, I get the Might Steal category. Scizor, no. Buzzwole, no. Azumarill, not really. I mean, they're pretty rare. Probably not tier. Let's see if we disagree with any of these. These are mostly right. I would say they're probably not tier is mostly right. Low chance, Wiggly, Mime. Mime has a higher chance probably than you would think. And then very unlikely being Snorlax, Comfey. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good tier list. So go check them out on Reddit. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think I got wrong in the comments, what you think they got wrong in the comments. I love you all, and I will see you all next time. Scarada!